Here's a complete guide to completing the Tomb Easter egg on Black Ops 6 Zombies. This can be completed on solo or co-op, will be as comprehensive a guide as possible so you can beat this Easter egg on your first attempt. If you find this guide useful, then be sure to let me know. Recommended loadout for this Easter egg is an AR or LMG with either E for Shroud or Frenzied Guard. Jumping straight in, the first thing you're going to want to do is open up the map by following the objective markers until you open up the door to nowhere. It will lead you to this table marker in the subterranean temple that, if you interact with, will open a door gateway that will take you into the Dark Ether Nexus where the Pack-a-Punch machine is. The very first part of this Easter egg cannot begin until round 8, so I advise you stay in the spawn room for a couple rounds, potentially with the Rampage Inducer on, to go through the rounds getting as many points as possible until you get to round 8, which is going to be the first part spawn for the Ice Staff. Now, you can completely skip the Ice Staff crafting process if you have a Wonder Bar Gobblegum, but it's not guaranteed you'll get it out the box. So if your Wonder Bar does get it out the box, amazing. If not, on round 8, your first Electric Mimic is going to spawn, and once you take it down, it will drop a Monocle item, which is the first of 3 parts that we need in order to build the Ice Staff. The next 2 items cannot be acquired until you've opened up the door to nowhere and have gone into the Dark Ether Nexus. Once you've done that, you're going to be making your way to 2 different sections of the map, which are the first doors you open from spawn on both the left and right side. Starting with the door on the right that takes you to the Neolithic Catacombs with the Deadshot Daiquiri perk, above on the ceiling in one of 3 locations is going to be a flaming lantern known as a Dark Ether Trap. To activate the puzzle in this area, you need to shoot the lantern so that it disintegrates, and after a short wait, the lantern will move to a different location on the ceiling, and you want to get it to move to the location on the ceiling above the crafting table. As soon as it moves to this location, you'll notice that it will illuminate a wall of different symbols to the left of the crafting table, and each of these symbols correlate to a Roman numeral that you need to shoot in order from 1 to 10. The order in which these symbols are displayed change every game, but to make this really simple, here is what every symbol correlates to in Roman numerals to a number from 1 to 10. What you need to do is shoot all symbols from 1 to 10 correctly without getting any wrong in that sequence, and if done correctly, it will initiate a little mini lockdown within this area where you're going to have purple wisping zombies and parasites that you're going to need to take down before this purple wisp will move to another spot in this area. If for whatever reason you get the symbols incorrect, you have multiple attempts to continue from where you left off, starting from the last numeral. This purple orb will move around 3 or 4 times in this area, eventually giving you a max armor drop before initiating another set of zombie spawns, which includes doppelghasts, vermin, parasites. It's great to have a pack-a-punched weapon at this point. Once the orb moves back to the Roman numeral wall, you have one final set of enemies to take down, whereafter your screen will flash, you'll get a max ammo, and you'll get the headpiece of the Ice Staff. To get the third and final part, we need to repeat this exact same puzzle, but over in the tombs, where this time you need to continue to shoot that Dark Ether lantern until it moves to this location where it illuminates Roman numerals on the wall with the bull symbol. Again, shoot all the Roman numeral symbols in numerical order from 1 to 10 again, but this time you only go up to 8 with this one. And once all have been shot in the correct order, you'll be in another mini lockdown where this orb will move around several times, spawning different zombie enemies that you need to take out, which will include doppelghasts, shock mimics, parasites. But once you are done, the wall will reveal a max ammo as well as the staff piece for the Ice Staff. With all staff pieces, make your way to the Dark Ether Nexus and interact with this machine directly in the middle to place the Ice Staff parts, and now you'll begin a mini lockdown where you need to protect the Staff of Ice from taking too much damage from zombies. Now, this is a surprisingly more difficult defense step than what it first seems. There are a lot of zombies that spawn during this that will be going for you, but some of the zombies and vermins will have a purple smoke on them where they will only be attracted to the Staff of Ice and damaging this main structure, which will take down the health of the Staff of Ice. My best strategy here is to simply train the zombies up in front of this area, focusing mainly on the parasites, and then looking back to see if there are any zombies that have a purple smoke to take them down. If you focus on that and keep most of the zombies just in a train in front of this defend, you shouldn't have too much trouble because you're only focusing on the zombies that are important to take down. You can fail this if it takes too much damage, and if it does, you simply need to progress another round to then retry again. But once you've defended it for long enough, the horde will be wiped out and you will now be able to pick up the Staff of Ice. Now we have the Staff of Ice, the next step for the main Easter egg is to upgrade the Staff of Ice. And to do so, we're going to need to revisit the Dark Ether lamps. Now, on either the left side of the main map or the right side of the main map, this step requires you to freeze 3 Dark Ether lamps with the Ice Staff within 3 separate sections of the map, being the very beginning, the middle, and then the subterranean temple area being last. all within 10 to 15 seconds. On screen now, you're going to see an optimal route on the right side of the map where Deadshot is, and as you can see, the moment I shoot the first one, I run straight into the ossuary to shoot the second, and then when I get to the subterranean temple, the final one is right as I enter the room. Now, your locations don't have to match what you're seeing here, but it is advised to shoot the lanterns with a bullet weapon to get the locations to move to a more streamlined location, where the moment you shoot one, you can immediately start sprinting forwards to shoot the second one and then the third one. The final one in Subterranean Temple has 5 different locations it can spawn at, so if it isn't right as you enter the room like you see here, it's advised to just shoot the lantern, wait a little moment for it to respawn in a different location, and try again. This could take you multiple attempts, and it's all based on where your locations are for these lanterns to get them all within 10 seconds. If done correctly, you will hear a quote from Archibald, and we can move on to the next step. Make your way into Dark Ether Nexus, and we're going to be shooting 3 floating rocks with the Ice Staff. These floating rocks will have a slight blue tinge to them that you'll get a hit marker if you shoot, and these are rocks that have stones that actually have a symbol on it. So we've got one right up here, and you'll want to note the symbol on that rock. Second could be shot while still on this little plinth to the right of the crafting table, and you'll want to note that symbol down. And then from that plinth, hop down, run straight forwards, and look up at this rock here, and if you get a hit marker, that is your third and final one. Note down those 3 symbols, and then leave the Dark Ether Nexus, and you'll need to run around the map and check every area that has a fast travel teleporter to the Dark Ether Nexus, as one of these is going to be sealed off. And you'll be presented with a door that has 8 different symbols. 3 of these symbols are going to match from the 3 rocks that you previously just shot with the Ice Staff, and you'll need to shoot the 3 correct symbols with the Ice Staff in any order. If done correctly or incorrectly, the portal will reopen, allowing you to go into the Dark Ether Nexus, and the teleporter will take you to an elevated platform above the Dark Ether Nexus, where if done correctly, there will be a purple orb that you'll want to interact with. If done incorrectly, this platform is going to drop you, which you'll need to be careful of, and you'll need to reattempt this on the following round by finding a different random door and putting in the 3 correct symbols. If done correctly, the orb is going to make its way down through the Dark Ether Nexus, spawning in a mix of normal zombies, mimics, doppelgangers, and your job is to follow this orb like your life depends on it. Orb acts as a soul box, so by taking down zombies, you're filling up the orb, but you need to stay by it. If you leave the orb for any far distance at all, you're going to fail, and you need to restart this step again the following round by finding another door location and putting in those symbols. The orb will escort you all the way around the Dark Ether Nexus area, spawning in a mixture of zombies and doppelgangers, but once it gets near to the Pack-a-Punch location here, it's going to spawn in an amalgam, so be very, very careful. This part caught me off a lot, but you need to ignore the amalgam and keep running forwards towards the orb, because if you don't get to it in time, you will fail and you need to restart this step again. So like I said, best advice is to ignore the amalgam and keep running forwards to get to the orb, as the amalgam will just follow you, and if you get enough zombie souls in the orb in time, you don't even need to take down the amalgam at all. The final route of the orb will take you back to the machine that gave you the Ice Staff, but with the orb now inside of it, you are now able to place in your staff and upgrade it, where once you have this upgraded to All's Fury, we can finally move on to the final few steps of the Easter egg. Now that we have the upgraded Ice Staff, if you press left on your D-pad or whatever it's binded to on your keyboard, the staff will be spanned 180 degrees to reveal the green tip at the end, which is a revive ability. Look at this vermin statue and use that revive ability on the purple crystal housed within the statue. And you'll notice that the crystal will now turn into a smoking blue that you'll be able to pick up. What we need to do now is take this over to the vermin statue in the main part of the map, which can be found in the spawn room. Placing this down on the vermin statue will start a lockdown where you will have a ton of vermin to take down within a certain amount of time. Even on solo, this is quite overwhelming, but the easiest way to take these vermin out is to simply use a charged shot of your Ice Staff, which requires either 9, 6, or 3 bullets available, and simply by charging down the right trigger, you'll freeze all of the vermin, and within no time, you'll have completed that lockdown. You'll now be able to pick up this purple crystal once again, and you'll have to safely escort it back to the plinth in the Dark Ether Nexus, but only one of the teleporters in the area is going to be active, and you have a Amulet Energy health bar, where if too many zombies hit you, the crystal will inflict damage, and if too much damage is taken, you're going to need to repeat this all over again. So by safely bringing it back to that statue of the vermin, we've completed the first of 4 trials. The second trial we can now start as a parasite one, which you'll want to shoot with the revive option of the staff again in order to pick up the crystal housed in the statue. Once you've picked it up, you want to make your way to the Shrine of the Hierophants, where in the middle of the room will be a parasite statue with a glowing purple light. Once you've placed this in, you're going to start another lockdown with Refine Energy as the objective, but with this, certain parasites that spawn are going to be glowing purple, and once taken down are going to drop these purple orbs that, just like Terminus, if you've ever completed that Easter egg quest, you need to run over to pick up and then bring back to the statue. And you need to rinse and repeat this, taking down parasites and picking up these energy orbs and bringing them back to the statue within the time limit that is given. If done correctly, you'll have a wipe on your screen and you'll be able to pick that crystal back up, where just like before, you have a certain amount of health before it's destroyed and only one of the teleporter doors are going to be active on the map. Pick it up, find it, take it back to the Dark Ether Nexus, and then place it back on the parasite plinth, where we have now completed 2 of 4 trials. Whenever you're ready and have ammo with the revive ability of the Ice Staff, you can move on to the third one, which can be found just behind the Ice Staff upgrade machine to the left. And this statue is of a Doppelgast. Simply shoot it with the revive part of your staff, pick up the crystal, and head towards the ossuary and interact with the Doppelgast statue, which will start a lockdown where the statue is going to spawn a ton of Doppelgasts. And if you have the upgraded Ice Staff, all you need to do is just charge it up and shoot it at the ground, and these Doppelgasts will be taken out extremely quickly. All the challenge requires is you to just take out the Doppelgast within that time limit, and if completed successfully, you'll be able to re-pick up that crystal from the statue, where again, you'll only have a certain amount of health with it in order to take it back to one of the remaining fast travels back to the Dark Ether Nexus and place it back in that statue location that matches the Doppelgast in the Dark Ether Nexus. Once that is done, your fourth and final one is going to be an amalgam statue, which is just adjacent to the back right side behind the staff upgrade machine, where again, shoot it with the revive part of the staff, pick up the crystal, and make your way through the subterranean temple to deep excavation, where the statue that corresponds will be down here. In order to complete this challenge, it is going to spawn an elite amalgam that you're going to need to take out, but at various points, it will become immune with a bubble shield that will be taking the life source from a heavy zombie somewhere in the area. And once you take down that heavy zombie, the bubble shield will be destroyed, allowing you to put more damage back into this elite boss. Once the boss has been taken down, pick up the crystal from the statue, run around the map to find that one Dark Ether Nexus portal that's still open, and place the crystal on the amalgam statue. And with all 4 of those trials completed, you are now ready to activate the boss fight. But before you begin, I highly encourage that you have all of your perks. You have a triple pack-a-punched weapon, the weapon being at max rarity and having a level 3 armor vest. The support streak, like a mutant injection, whilst not necessary, could definitely save your life in certain aspects. But once you're ready to go, make your way to the very back of the Dark Ether Nexus and interact with this pedestal to reveal a bridge which will take you over to the boss fight arena. Once the Sentinel artifact is interacted in the middle, you're at the point of no return and you're in the boss fight. So be sure you're ready before you do this. This is a very difficult boss fight, but I'm going to try and break this down to be as comprehensively easy to understand as possible. But this boss fight works very differently to the other boss fights in the game, where you're not actually fighting a physical big boss, but instead the Sentinel artifact will act as a main target that will be spinning around the boss arena, shooting a laser going from the ground floor up to the top floor and then back down again several times. During this process, what you want to do is, with the upgraded Ice Staff, just hide either behind one of the pillars upstairs or underground in one of these sections where you have a ton of cover and the beam can't hit you, and charge up the Ice Staff and keep taking down the zombies until the Sentinel artifact stops lasering and becomes a transparent blue. Once it's transparent, you have a very small amount of time to do damage to it by shooting it with your bullet weapon. Whether you're solo or in co-op, Ether Shroud here is fantastic to keep the zombies away, so you can solely focus doing damage on the Sentinel artifact. And if you've put enough damage in this very first phase, you'll see the artifact will have multiplied into 2 artifacts. That's happened, you've completed the very first phase, and you can see the boss's health has gone down a little bit, and you'll have a max ammo waiting for you in the middle for you to pick up. For phase 2, this is the exact same procedure, but this time you have 2 lasers that are going to be spinning around both upstairs and downstairs. And the further in the boss fight you get, the more Sentinel artifacts there will be with more lasers that will do more damage if they hit you. So you want to try and avoid being being hit by them as much as possible. But in between these laser phases, you want to be taking out the zombies using your upgraded ice staff or your bullet weapon so that you have your ether shroud charged back, ideally by the time the sentinel artifacts go transparent again. And once they do, you want to just continuously focus your fire on one of the sentinel artifacts, and if you've done enough damage in time, it will transform into a red see-through sentinel artifact where you'll then be able to focus fire on the other. And if done correctly, you'll get a max ammo. You'll see the boss fight health bar drop down even more, and you'll now have 4 sentinel artifacts that will be beaming 4 lasers around the map arena. From my experience here running solo, staying underground in this section is a lot easier than staying above ground. And again, I'm just charging up my ice staff, trying to take out zombies as quickly as I can in order to get my ether shroud back. Eventually, after avoiding the lasers for a long enough time, there will be 4 sentinel artifacts in the middle that you'll now be able to focus your fire on. But once you've taken down one, you will see that it will float back into the middle as a red, and you won't be able to put any damage into the other 3. This new red sentinel artifact is going to spawn a bunch of boss zombies, including doppelgast and amalgams, as well as a special heavy zombie that has a red sentinel artifact on its body. Now, if you don't complete this phase of the boss fight within the time before the lasers finish, you're going to have to repeat this again. But you'll want to first focus on taking down the elite zombie bosses like the amalgam and the doppelgasts. And once they have been taken down, you then want to go ahead and take down that heavy zombie, leaving only normal zombies and then this armored sentinel artifact zombie left. Now, your aim is to take the zombie down, and once it's weak, it will drop the sentinel artifact that you need to continuously shoot with your bullet weapon in order to complete this phase. Again, if you don't shoot the sentinel artifact in time, it will move back into the main middle of the map, and you'll have to repeat this phase all over again with a new spawn of amalgams and the heavy zombie with the sentinel artifact. If done correctly, you'll move on to the next phase of the boss, where instead of a heavy zombie type, you'll have an amalgam as well as a doppelgast that is carrying a sentinel artifact. Now, at all times, you want to keep your distance from these sentinel artifacted zombies because they can one-hit you just like the lasers from the sentinel artifact as well. At this point, you also have to deal with the amalgams as well as various other elite spawns along with that sentinel artifact doppelgast, so it's really challenging. You really want to make sure you take out the amalgams first, then focus on the sentinel artifact zombie, making sure that you have a full reload of your LMG ready to take out that sentinel artifact. And once you've taken down that doppelgast, you then want to be continuously shooting that sentinel artifact that it drops so that it moves into the middle again. If you don't get to it in time, you'll have to repeat this phase again with this particular doppelgast zombie with the sentinel artifact. Massive help is throughout running around in a clockwise direction, continuously charging your staff to do passive damage to the bosses, the zombies, as well as slowing them down so you can take out those elite bosses first before you then move on to the sentinel artifacted boss. Preserving your ammo, your armor as well, so you have the full reload of your LMG ready to take down those sentinel artifacts is absolutely crucial. The next special enemy you'll need to take down is a elite electrified mimic that also has a sentinel artifact. And once taken down, shoot that sentinel artifact with your bullet weapon, and it should split into 2 sentinel artifacts that will then move back into the middle. The last and final phase of this boss fight is just absolutely absurd. You have multiple types of elite zombies, which now include a elite version of the previous bosses you took down, which will now have see-through sentinel artifacts on that need to be taken down, which includes the mimic, the doppelgast, the heavy zombie, but you'll now also have an amalgam that will have a red sentinel artifact that will need to be taken down. That is an elite version. And this is where I found the mutant injection to be extremely useful, because here you have such a high chance of going down from the fact that if they get anywhere near you, either underground or upstairs, it's very easy to go down. But with the mutant injection, I was able to take down all of those elites and then the zombies, and then finally weaken that last elite amalgam that has the final red sentinel artifact that I need. And once I take him down, I then swap to my LMG and just spray away at that sentinel artifact to do as much damage as possible to then move that into the middle of the arena. If completed successfully, you will notice that all of the sentinel artifacts will form in a line in the middle and then move a sentinel artifact all the way to the door on the upstairs of the boss fight arena. Your job here is to just put as much damage into this final sentinel artifact on the door as possible, because if you don't put enough damage in time, this will be a wipe mechanic ending the game. But as you can see here, we we are just putting in so much damage into its health bar, and eventually we take it down, and that is the Tombs boss fight fully completed. And in the middle of the arena will be the Sentinel artifact that you can interact with, placing the amulet into it and rewarding you with the ending cutscene. If you found this video useful, please let me know by dropping a thumbs up before you leave. If you need any other Easter egg guides for Black Ops 6 Zombies, you can find links on screen to all the other maps as well as Easter egg guides in the description.